Sorry, just wait till they catch up.
Alright. Keep up, boys.
She's looking into this.
Ready? No? Okay. Right, this is approximately half of children's homes in the UK where abuse has taken place. Half. I'm still trying to compile the map, as you can understand, it's extremely harrowing work. Having been in care and realised nobody needs that much care, I spent 22 years carefully boxing up and packing away all the demons in my head, putting them in a little secure room, right in the back of my head, locking all the doors on my way out, so nothing could escape. And then David Cameron opened up a whole new inquiry into North Wales. He says, yeah, all right, maybe Waterhouse didn't do a good job. But we all knew that to start off with. We all knew it was a whitewash because nothing was done. Nothing changed. And all the demons started clamouring to get out. I thought, well, fuck this. And I did what I do best. When the shit hits the fan, I buried my nose in research. And I found one hell of a lot of shit. I thought, okay, maybe my life wasn't so bad when I was raped and impregnated and then thrown on the streets. You know, maybe my life wasn't so bad. Because at least I survived. Not all of them did. Quite a lot never came through it. Some of them still live with it day in, day out, and will never come through it. Now, this is the start of the main focus of abuse, of the main focus of paedophile information exchange, the Wirral. Started at Greystone Heath, as most things seem to start in the Wirral. I've lost where I am now. I have lost where I am. Serves me right. That is Greystone Heath.
Yes.
Yeah. 21-year-old student Keith Laverack started working there, and over the course of a few years, he embarked on a course of buggery and indecent assault on at least 16 boys, which he shared with various colleagues and friends. Brian Percival, the storeman of the home, he was convicted for God knows how many abuses. Alan Lanshaw, 24 boys. Roy Shuttleworth, 10. Jack Bennett, 2. Stephen Norris, they lost count. Grain and Shuttleworth were both promoted to other homes in Warrington. Terence Hoskins, who had done that same as Percival, he went off to St Aidan's in Widnes, and he had a fondness of using cane on boys, thrashing them, and then pushing it into the backsides. He abused boys there with the housemaster Colin Dick. Following a complaint, Colin Dick was accused of indecent assault, and he was acquitted, as they usually are. Hoskins went on to become president of National Children's Home, which is now Action for Children. And he then wrote a reference for Colin Dick, effectively stating that he was no longer a risk to children and recommending him for a posting at Manchester as a residential social worker. Colin Dick was then allowed to go on and abuse boys for another 8 years. In 81, Dennis Graham and Hoskins were back working in Doncaster at Hesley Hall Group. And then Dennis Graham went on to Eton and worked there for a couple of decades. Whilst Prince William was in attendance, actually. Oops. You know, let's keep it all in the club together. You know, Prince William. Yeah, go on. You know, at least he was proud by his parents. Alan Manshaw was jailed for 10 years in '94 for 30 counts of serious sexual assaults and indecent assaults against boys under 16 at homes in Cheshire and Liverpool. However, first accusations were made in '86, with this woman being right at the centre of it, Miss Edwina Corrie. She was responsible for the childcare system at that point, and she was asked to intervene on Manshaw's behalf, which she did. He went on to get another job in residential childcare, because she said, "Oh, he's an upstanding upright man. He couldn't do anything like that. I believe in him fully." Well, I'm sorry, I've heard that about Jimmy Savile from her as well, haven't I? You know, she's not exactly the best judge of character. When asked about Jimmy Savile and why he'd been given the keys, she said, "Well, if it meant we could break the strike and help the patients, then the ends justify the means, doesn't it?" If she was asked about the mentally ill patients that he'd abused, she says, "If I'd have known, I would have asked him, 'Jimmy, give me the keys,' and it would have stopped." Yeah, would it? Would it really have? She was very open when she admitted she knew Morrison had sex with 16-year-old boys when the age of consent was 21, and that he had been protected by a culture of sniggering. In her diaries, she called him a noted pederast with a liking for young boys. She put in her diaries, "Pete Morrison has become the PM's PPS, personal public secretary. He's what they call a noted pederast with a liking for young boys. He admitted as much to Norman Tevitt when he became deputy chairman of the party." But then she added, "However, I'm very discreet, and so must he be." She also went on to give Jimmy Savile the keys, as we know, for Broadmoor, an unqualified pedophile DJ, and not a very good one at that, an hospital porter, and a known friend of Peter Sutcliffe, one of the inmates of Broadmoor. You know, what's he going to do? Let his mate out for days out? Norman Tevitt had a little choice in admitting that he knew Peter Morrison was a paedophile when Edwina Corrie outed the fact that he knew it. You know, talk about giving your mate no cause for escape. Now, when Stanton started working at St Vincent's in Will, Roy Shuttleworth had recommended him for the job. Roy was working at Greystone, but they'd both met each other when they were on a childcare course, a residential childcare course in Birmingham. That residential course was taught by Peter Wrighton. He groomed the whole of the social work profession for over a decade. He had Tavistock, National Children's Home, Barnardo's, Mind, all listening, all advising, all recommending him as the person that was right to lead childcare. They set up a steering committee to run his group, and we have quite a few people on that, including Claire Rayner, the agony aunt. Now, one of the guys who was on the course, Rod Ryle, the ex-director of Calderdale Social Services, convicted in 1988 for crimes against 2 boys in care. Committee, who appointed him as Director of Social Services, weren't told of a previous incident involving the same 2 boys. And they appointed him. When he was appointed as Director, he took over a project to set up a new assessment centre in Calderdale, Skircutt Lodge. And he got one of his friends from Birmingham, set him as Principal, Malcolm Phillips, who was also convicted in 2001. When Ryle was first arrested in '88, they found him living in the private flat that Malcolm Phillips had at Skircutt Lodge. He'd been there for over 2 weeks. Phillips, knowing the guy was a wanted man, had let him live within the children's home, knowing that he was wanted for crimes against children, giving him full access to more children. And this guy called himself a child carer, a social worker that was there to protect children. I'm sorry, that doesn't compute with me. You don't put children at risk and still care about them. You don't harm children and still care. You can't. Otherwise you wouldn't be hurting them. You wouldn't be putting them in that situation. Now, as head of the assessment centre, Malcolm Phillips had final say in any child leaving the borough. He used, what we know so far, 5 different units. Newton Aycliffe, secure. St William's in Market Wayton, which took boys only and was run by De La Salle Order of Roman Catholic Church. Bryn Estyn, which had secure until it shut down in the 80s. Bryn Allen, he only sent girls to Bryn Allen community. We know of 10 that were sent over 20 years, over the 20-year period. All were between 12, 15, blonde-haired, blue-eyed. And then he sent them to Macclesfield Young Persons Unit. And Dr. Peter Wells, fantastic man, cannot say a thing wrong about him. Yeah? Absolutely love the guy. He ran Macclesfield Young Persons Unit, which is a mental institute for children. It was attached to Parkside Mental Hospital in Macclesfield. It shut down in '92. He did his best to help disturbed children, abused children. When he closed the facility after funding ran out, he transported all the files, all the records of all the children for the last 15 years we've been running the facility over to Parkside, the main unit, put them all in the catacombs of Parkside. He made several trips with the car to fill a room with boxes. When Parkside shut down in 95-96, 1 box was found of files for Macclesfield Young Persons Unit and passed to the archives. 1. When I spoke with him last year, he told me there were at least 25 boxes went into storage. Down to 1. What the fuck? No known complaints of abuse have ever been heard about Macclesfield Young Persons Unit. And that is the only place I felt safe as a child, in the nut house, as a 14-year-old kid. That is sad. Sorry, it is. Now, Duncroft, Oh, well, we all love Duncroft, don't we? Every year, two girls would be taken by a Cambridge professor up to Brancaster in Norfolk by Professor Bell. But they would have an overnight stop first in Cambridge at Professor Bell's house. Nobody knew why, but they always went in pairs and never left each other alone. When my mum landed in Duncroft in '67, she was told by the girls, you don't go off, if you're taken on camp, you don't go off on your own. You go with another lass. You stay together. You look after each other. Okay, she says, fair enough. They would do overnight in his house, and they'd be taken for a shopping trip in King's Lynn before they then went on to Brancaster to meet up with all the other girls from different units. In Duncroft, they had the main home, and then they had a hostel for girls moving on. You know, older, too old for school, but not quite old enough to be kicked out. The rules were, nobody can go out in the evening without a male escort. One woman was set up with a man about the same age as her, and within weeks she'd been raped, impregnated, and forced into a marriage. Over the next 6 years, she was raped 7 more times, had 3 more children, and then finally escaped him and ran. Didn't know what happened to the children until a few years later, when one of them got in touch and said, right, you left us all there to be raped by my dad. Now I want you to stand up in court and say he's a good man. What? He's raped the kids as well, but I want you to stand up in court and say he's a good man. What? Well, you married him. I didn't have much choice about it, but you married him. Well, I was forced into it, she says. Well, that's not my fault, says the kid. Well, it's not fucking mine either, says the mom. And that was it, contact was broken. There was no more contact between the family. Yes?
Can I ask why the child wanted the mom to say that he was a good man?
Because they were, I can only put it down as,
brainwashing.
yeah, that's the one.
Brainwashed.
Who knows why? Yeah, who knows why? Because you get that indoctrinated to it, you expect everyone to stick up for the person that you believe loves you. You believe gives you all this attention because they love you, not just because they're a dirty old bastard. So yeah, contact broke there. One of the girls ended up dying in a mental institution herself. She was 24 when she died. She'd been left with the mental age of a 2-year-old when she had whooping cough vaccinations. She was put into the mental home at 16 when her father had had enough of using her. And his other daughters had had children for him to play with. So he got rid of his youngest kid. Within years, she was dead. That's not where we're at now. That's that. But we're missing the ones for Bryn Allen. The slides for Bryn Allen. I'm missing the slides for Bryn Allen. Where is it? That goes on to discussions. No, I can grab it. Right, this is the nursery that was set up when Brunellan Community closed. It was set up on the property of Brunellan Hall. It ran for 13 years. As you can see by the sign, well, it's a bit blurred there, but the phone number starts, the mobile phone starts 04. In 99, all mobile numbers were changed to 07. Warning went out for businesses in 98. So anyone with half a brain would have not had signs made after 98 with 04 for the mobile number, which says to me it opened in 97. Logic dictates. It was closed in 2012. What kind of parent chooses to take their toddler onto the grounds of a pedo palace and leave them there, day in, day out? Who in their right mind even thinks, oh, well, okay, it used to be a pedo-like place, but I'll take my kid there now? It just doesn't make sense to me. You know, if somebody can explain it, then please. Now, we're missing a load of the pictures here. We are missing a load.
No, it was